Hello students, this is Soumya Das, Assistant Professor, Department of Pharmaceutics, Bengal School of Technology, Sugandha, West Bengal. And today I am here with a lecture on epilepsy, its causes, diagnosis and treatment. So before going through this video, I just want to say that this will be helpful for the B Pharm 8th semester students, mainly in the subject of hospital and clinical pharmacy. So let us see that what is epilepsy, its causes, diagnosis and what are the treatments related to this. So before going to epilepsy, let us discuss the internal structure of the brain. So I have kept here two pictures which will show you the internal structure of the brain. Now here it is marked in the different colors. Now if you see here, the colors have been marked like spinal cord, cerebellum, diencephalon, pons, cerebral hemisphere. Now, epilepsy is a disorder which is generally associated with our main organ, that is a brain. So, it's very important to know that what are the different parts of the brain. Now, in this picture I will show you that this area, it is called as the pons and this area is called as the cerebellum. The long, you can say, connection or projection from the pons and from the cerebellum is called as the medulla oblongata. Now this area which is marked as the orange and the yellow color, this area is responsible for the sensory speech. Now if you come to this area which is in the yellow color, it is called as the motor speech area of the Broca. This is the frontal lobe, this is the parietal lobe which is marked in the pink color. Now this area, you can say this orange color area is for the reading comprehension area. That means this is generally associated with the memory, or we can say with the ability of us to read or to understand some subjects. Now after going through this anatomy, let us discuss what is epilepsy. Now as you can see here, I have put a definition of epilepsy. Now it is a chronic disorder that causes the unprovoked recurrent seizures. Now epilepsy, all of us know that this is a disorder which incurs or which has the main symptoms of seizures, that is unprovoked. That means we don't provoke, or the stimuli will not provoke, then also the seizures can occur. And recurrent, that means these seizures repeat themselves in the nature. Now to understand what is epilepsy, it's important to understand what a seizure is called. Now seizure is a sudden rush of electrical activity in the brain. Like your brain is functioning normally, in between you have a sudden rush of electrical activity. That means a electric impulse is generated which is very different from the normal electrical impulse. And the seizures can be classified as a mild seizure or the stronger seizure. Now when you consider a mild seizure, it is difficult to recognize generally. That means you can't understand you got a seizure, but that seizure has already occurred. It can last for a few seconds, or sometimes it can last for some minutes also, but you can't understand, you don't have the awareness. Now stronger seizures are generally called as the long term seizures, and they cause the spasms and uncontrollable muscle twitches. That means your muscles will get twitched and there is an uncontrolled spasm. You cannot control the movement, the contraction and expansion movement, and it can generally it lasts for some minutes. It can last for some seconds also, but it generally lasts for some minutes. And during these strong seizures, some people they become confused. That means they can't understand that what they are doing and why they got the seizure. Sometimes some people they lose the consciousness also. That means they faint down, and afterwards what happened to them, they forget everything. That means during the seizures, during the stronger seizures, the people they have a loss of memory. That means what happened during the seizures they don't recognize or they don't remember after they reoccur or after they come out of that seizure situation. Now, there are some cases where some people they get confused among the seizures of epilepsy and the seizures associated with the other disorders. So, here I have kept some of the diseases or some of the physiological conditions where you can get the seizures also. Under this, the first one is the high fever. Generally, when the fever it crosses 101 degree Fahrenheit, you get some kinds of seizures. Mainly, it is seen in the younger children or the younger group population. Now this can be confused with the epilepsy seizure also. Now sometimes during the process of fainting, like if you have the condition of fainting due to weakness or due to some sudden shock, then you can get the seizures, which is generally confused with the epileptic seizures. Now narcolepsy. Now narcolepsy is a situations when you get reoccurring episodes of sleep during the day. That means you feel that you get sleepy or you have a some nap, but after that you again wake up from the situation and you come to your present situation. Now this condition also can give you seizure, or generally it is a twitch or it is a sudden jerk of your body. Now cataplexy is the extreme muscle weakness. In some disorders, in some diseases, you get this problem of cataplexy. Now when you are suffering from this cataplexy, you can develop the seizures. Generally it is uncontrolled and you don't know that when you will be getting this type of seizures. Sleep disorders. Now some people, they have the insomnia. When this insomnia is generally at the night time, so in the daytime what happens, the persons, they suffer from the jerking of the body, sometimes uncontrolled or not noticeable also. So these can be also related, or you can say people can take this as the epileptic seizures. Nightmares, very common. So during the night time when you are sleeping, you get some nightmares and you feel that you are in the present situation, then also you can get the seizures. Panic attacks. Now if you are hearing any sudden sad news, or if you are getting some panic situation due to some fear or anxiety, that time also you can get the seizures, but this should not be confused with the epileptic seizures. Now next is the fugue state. Now in this condition, it's generally a very rare psychiatric condition when the person forget details about their identity. That means we can say the person has forgot that who I am. In this case also, some persons, they may suffer from the seizures, but this should not be confused with the epileptic seizures. Now schizophrenic seizures, or you can say the psychiatric cases, when the person is having some psychiatric disorders, in some of the conditions the person can suffer from the seizures also. Now why I have kept this slide, to tell you that what are the cases you can get seizures also apart from the epilepsy. So it is very important to understand that what are the epileptic seizures and what are the seizures associated with the other disorders. So there are some facts which I have collected from the internet. Now we can see here, epilepsy is the fairly common neurological disorder that affects 65 million people around the world. Now we can say this figure is not a small figure, and there are 65 million people who are suffering from epilepsy in the world. It's not a small disorder, or it's not a disorder of the small group of population. 65 million is not a small number. In United States, it affects about 3 million people, and 10 million persons with epilepsy are there in India. Now, if you take the cases in India, there are some cases which are unnoticeable, or people, they don't reveal it outside that they are suffering from this epilepsy. Now, here is the interesting part. If the epilepsy is diagnosed in the early stages or in the early childhood, then it is a treatable condition. If it lasts for the late stages, like means if you go beyond the age of 20, then treating of epilepsy is bit difficult. I am not saying it's not possible, it's bit difficult. So in India, the cases are generally 10 million persons, and this is a statistics which is taken in the year 2019. Anyone can develop epilepsy, as I told, but it's very common in the young children and the old age people. Now why the young children, they suffer from the epilepsy? Because the brain function is very fast, or you can say the brain activity is very speeded up. So in this time, when they get any kind of attack or when they get panicked, they may develop the condition of epilepsy. In case of the older adults, generally there is some neurological disturbances, or we can say nervous system weakness, by which they can develop the epilepsy also. Now if we take the gender difference, the epilepsy is mainly common in the males than in the females. Now here I have kept a picture which shows that epilepsy in the children. You can see that 30 to 40% have epilepsy without seizures. I mean to say, this epilepsy is undiagnosed or unnoticeable. That means children, they have epilepsy, but there are no symptoms. we cannot diagnose, we cannot, the doctor or the parents, they cannot diagnose that the children is suffering from the epilepsy. Now 20% have intellectual disability, that means they have the disability of the brain. So if you relate this thing with the epilepsy, then you may diagnose it, or you may detect that the child is having the epileptic syndrome. And 20 to 50% have specific learning disability, that means 20 to 50% of the children who have the epilepsy, they have the learning disability, that means they cannot learn, or they cannot get educated, they cannot understand the facts which the normal child can understand. So this is the statistics which is taken from the WHO, which gives that what is epilepsy and what are the population, means which population has the more condition of this epileptic syndrome. Now, what are the types of seizures? As I have told you that we have to be very confirmatory test should be done, that whether the seizures is due to the epilepsy or any kind of medical conditions. So, the first type of seizure is the focal or the partial seizures. Now, this focal or the partial seizures can be divided into two categories. The first one is the simple partial seizures. That means it does not involve the loss of consciousness, that it means the person will not lose the consciousness, he will be in his full senses and he will just feel the symptoms like alteration of the sense, like the taste or smell or sight or hearing or touch. That means he will be blank for some time, but his sense or the consciousness will be not lost. Apart from this, he can be feeling some dizziness or tingling and twitching of the limbs generally. That means this simple partial seizures is totally when the person is in conscious state, but he will be having some symptoms which is related to the epilepsy. Now coming to the complex partial seizures, here the loss of awareness or consciousness is present. That means the person, he will be unconscious, and other symptoms like the staring blankly, that means the person will stare to the other person, that he doesn't know anything, he will be unresponsive, like he will not listen to you, he will not understand that what you are saying. And that is involuntary movements, that means there will be some movements which the person don't want, or automatically this is happening. So this comes under the complex partial seizures. Now the second group is the generalized seizure. Now this generalized seizure, it takes the total brain, or the whole brain is involved, and this generalized seizures is of 6 types. The first one is the absence seizures. This is also called as the petit mal seizure due to the blank stare. And this type of seizures may also cause repetitive movements like lip smacking or blinking of eyes, and there's also usually a short of loss of awareness. That means the person will be unaware, but that will be for a minimum period or very short period. Next is the tonic seizures. Tonic seizures means when the muscle stiffness, the muscles get stiff, or you feel that your muscles is not working, it is becoming harder, it is not tended to touch, that is called as a tonic seizure. Third one is the atonic seizures. In the atonic seizures, the loss of muscle control occurs and can make you fall down suddenly. That means you don't have control on your body parts, you fall down suddenly. The fourth type of seizure is the clonic seizure. This clonic seizure is characterized by repeated and jerky muscle movements. Generally these muscle movements are on the face, neck and on the arms. That means you get jerks, your that is uncontrolled jerks. Next is the myoclonic seizures. This is a spontaneous quick twitching of the arms and the legs. That means your arms will get a quick twitching, your legs will get a quick twitching, that is also uncontrolled. That means you are unable to control the twitch movements. And last one is the tonic clonic seizures, and this is also called as the grand mal seizures. The basic symptoms of this grand mal seizures are the stiffening of the body, shaking, loss of bladder or bowel control. That means your body will become stiff, you cannot control your body movements, you will get a shaking of your total body or certain parts of your body like your limbs or your hands, and you will be losing the control on your urination and the bowel, that means the stool. This type of seizure is generally dangerous and it generally occurs for a fewer group of population. Now, what are the triggering agents? Why the person gets the seizures? The first reason, generally we can say that the exact reason of the seizures is unknown, because many people they don't have any stimuli but they get the seizures or they get the epileptic attack. But sometimes the factors which I have noted down, these may also be responsible for the seizures. The first one is the lack of sleep. If the person is not having a sound sleep, then he can be or he will be related to the seizures. Illness or the fever, as I already told you, if the fever goes beyond 101 degree Fahrenheit, then there is a risk of the seizure. Stress, now this is a very important factor. If the patient is in the stressed condition, let it be mental stress or physical stress, then he can develop the seizures. Bright lights, flashing lights or patterns, there are some lights which may be comfortable to me but it cannot be comfortable to you. There may be some patterns drawn which may not be comfortable to me but it can be comfortable to you. So depending on this lights, the flashlights and the patterns, flashlight means the flashlight of the mobile or the disco lights which switch on and switch off very fast. Okay, so this type of lights or this type of patterns can also lead to the seizures in the patients. Now there are some agents like caffeine, alcohol, medicines or some drugs. Okay, these can also lead to the seizures. And last one is the skipping of the meals, overeating or some specific food or the ingredients. Now generally what happens when you skip the meal, you have some weakness in your body, or if you overeat there is some gastrointestinal disturbances, and if you are having some specific food ingredients which may lead or which may trigger the seizures also. Now here in the yellow color box I have written that epilepsy sometimes runs in the family. Still the risk of inheriting the condition is fairly low. Mainly parents with epilepsy don't have the children with the epilepsy. There are some research articles or some researchers have just claimed that epilepsy runs in your genes. But there is a chance that if the father and mother are epileptic, the child is a non-epileptic fellow. So we don't have any proved symptom that compulsory parents, if they have the epilepsy, the child will be getting the epilepsy also. But epilepsy can also run in your genes. That means it can be carried to the children, to the grandchildren also. And in case of the children, here you can see the box I have written, in case of the children, if there is a undiagnosable epilepsy, then you can have this type of symptoms or you can mark this type of features. The first is the inattentiveness. That means while studying or while doing any activity, the child becomes inactive or inattentive generally. He will lose his attention. He will be in the silent mode. He will not listen to you. He will not understand what you are saying. Irritability. While doing some work or while the child is having his food or while watching the television or doing the homework, he will get irritated mostly. Third thing is hyperactivity. Sometimes the child will be calm and sometimes he will be hyperactive. That means he will be losing the control on his anger. And last is the aggressiveness. Now this aggressiveness is generally associated with the hyperactivity. When the child gets hyperactive, he becomes aggressive. He tortures himself or his sibling, his parents or anybody. He throws the items, he throws the articles. So these four factors, or you can say four symptoms, can be the first line of diagnosis that whether the child is suffering or whether he can suffer from the symptoms or from the disease of epilepsy. Now coming to the causes, as I told you that cause is not determined, and 6 out of 10 persons if you take, the cause is not determined. But there are some possible causes like traumatic brain injury, scarring on the brain, serious illness or very high fever, stroke, which occurs generally after 35 years of age, other vascular diseases, lack of oxygen to the brain, brain tumor or cyst, dementia or Alzheimer's disease, maternal drug use, prenatal injury, brain malfunction or lack of oxygen at birth. Now this condition can occur to the baby. Okay. Now infectious diseases such as the AIDS and the meningitis, and there are certain neurological diseases which can be the causative agent for the epilepsy. Now, how can you diagnose? How can you diagnose the epilepsy? The first diagnostics test is the blood test. Now, why the blood test is done? To understand that whether is it a epilepsy or whether the seizures is related to any other condition. So, any other conditions means some infectious disease or liver or kidney functional deficiency. Blood glucose level has been decreased or has been increased. So, your doctor will first test your blood. He will confirm that you don't have any of these three disorders. Then he can go for the other diagnostic test for the epilepsy. Now, coming to the other confirmatory test for the epilepsy, the first one is the EEG, that is the electroencephalogram. Now, in this electroencephalogram, the electrodes are attached to your scalp, like you do in the ECG. The electrodes are attached to your chest. Here, the electrodes are attached to your scalp, and this is a non-invasive. That means you don't get any injections or you don't invade your skin, invade your body, and the person is asked to perform some task like thinking or watching a movie or doing some physical activity or sometimes to sleep also. And this electrodes will record the electrical activity which is happening in your brain during this type of the activities. So whether you have a seizure or not, you can detect in the graph. Second one is the CT scan. Now this CT scan, it uses the X-ray to obtain the cross-sectional image of your brain, and this CT scan can reveal any kind of abnormalities in your brain, like you have a brain scar or a brain injury. So this thing can be noted, and the exact reason or exact seizure cannot be detected, but the reason of the seizures can come out by the help of this CT scan, like tumors or bleeding or any kind of cyst in your brain. The fourth one is the MRI, that is the magnetic resonance imaging. Now regarding this MRI, I have discussed in my previous video also, but I will be just giving a small brief that what is this MRI. In case of MRI, we are using some magnetic field to detect or scan the total body, and this MRI will be giving you the results within 30 minutes. This will be scanning your whole body, let it be brain or the spinal cord, and it will detect the main cause of the epilepsy. That means it can detect the formation of the tumors or any blockage of the nerves, etc. And the last one is the PET scanning. Now about the PET scanning also I have discussed in the last video, but just to recall, I can say that the PET scanning will tell you, or it is used to locate the part of your brain that is responsible for the epileptic seizures. So in this PET scanning, what you do, it will reveal that how the cells in the body are functioning. Now if you are in the sleeping condition, you are undergoing the PET scanning, so it will tell you that whether the cells are functioning properly or not, so that the doctor can diagnose that there is some uncontrolled movement in your brain. Now, what are the management of epilepsy? Now, the first line, or you can say the first thing which you can do or the doctor does, is giving some anti-epileptic drugs. The anti-epileptic drugs are also called the anticonvulsant or the anti-seizure drugs. Now, these medication are available in the large number. I have just noted down some of the medication like valproic acid, carbamazepine, lamotrigine, or levetiracetam. Now, other drugs are also listed, or you can also identified. At the last or the end of this video, I have attached some references. I have given a reference which has the list of anti-epileptic drug, which is the recent list. That means which is used nowadays for the treatment of the epilepsy. Now, second thing we can do is the vagus nerve stimulator. Now, this is the device which is surgically placed under the skin on the chest, or and it stimulates some electrical, you can say, stimuli. The nerve which is to the nerve which runs through your neck. That means from here the stimulus will be going, and this can help in the prevent the seizures. Now the persons who have the more attack of the seizure or very you can say less span of time they get the seizures, for them this vagus nerve stimulator can be used to decrease the occurrence of the seizures. Now you can change the diet, like you can go for the ketogenic diet. It is seen that more than half of the people who don't respond the medication get benefit from the high fat and low carbohydrate diet. So your doctor can suggest you to improve your diet brain surgery. Now brain surgery is the ultimate thing which can be done to treat the epilepsy. In the brain surgery also we have different you can say parts or different techniques. Lobectomy, now in this case the surgeon will remove the section of the brain which from which the seizure starts. Okay, so this is the very oldest type of surgery which used to be means performed on the patient. Second is the multiple subpial transition. Now in this type of surgery we will make several cuts to limit the seizures to one part of the brain only. That means the cuts are made so that the seizures is not transferred to the total brain. Now next is the corpus callosotomy. Now in this case the surgeon will cut the neural connection between the two halves of the brain. This prevents the seizures from spreading from one side of the brain to the other side. And last one is hemispherectomy. This is the extreme condition, or you can say extreme surgery, where the surgeon may need to cut out one hemisphere of your brain to save the other hemisphere. So this is some of the examples for the management of the epilepsy. So dear students, here I have noted down some references. You can go through it. You will find out that my total lecture has been taken out from these references only. If you get any doubt or if you have any problem in understanding, you can drop a comment in the comment section of this video, or else you can drop a mail to the both the mail IDs I have mentioned here. Please subscribe to my channel Edu Knowledge Hub for the more videos. Stay safe, stay happy. Till then, thank you. Bye bye.